Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We are going to kick off today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today's selection comes at us from Catherine. Chronic Trigger, You Can't Dance to This. So that sounds like a challenge. Sounds like a dare. I feel like I want to dance to this track, and I don't even know what they're doing yet. I do find it interesting that the title of the video is You Can't Dance to This music video. I don't know if it's supposed to be read all as one sentence, but we are looking at the music video for this track. Let's dive in and see what Chronic Trigger is bringing to the table today.
Whoa, here it is, boys. It's official. Well, open it back. Akron Community Council. That's government right there. Look at the seal. They had real shit. Congratulations. Your album, You Can't Dance to This, has gone triple pyrite. Woo! Yeah! Woo!
I told you it was three or something.
Hold on, there's words and shit. Hold on. Your 4.2 million streams has resulted in 42 cents earned and 3.5 physical album sales to date. This is unheard of in the history of Akron Community Council. We formally invite you to the award ceremony at the luxurious Motel 6 on Scenic Industrial Boulevard. Meeting room number 3. Food and travel will be provided.
That ain't right.
That must be a nice Motel 6.
I heard free and American Captain loves free.
There's a coupon here for one free corn dog.
But wait a minute.
American Captain
One
plays
free
corn
corn
dog.
dog.
American Captain.
Sticks sold separately.
You can have the stick.
And one coupon.
Wait, how are we gonna hold it?
Per visit. Ketchup not included. Well, you know that's
I got the
formality.
ketchup, boy.
I think it's gonna be good, man. We gonna kill this. I know that plane's gonna be a private plane. That's private. Well, a plane ought to be around here anywhere. You know, I mean, it's hard to miss a plane out here in tarmac. Say the pilot was gonna come. They were sending him. Transportation and travel provided.
Maybe over there.
What the hell does that say?
Chronic Trigger.
Chronic Trigger.
Trigger.
That's some sort of.
Ain't nobody spelling my band name wrong. This is the
There
American.
ain't no way that's our plane. There ain't no way. I ain't getting in that.
Oh no, come on.
That's
It's
our
completely
plane.
fine.
That's a
It's gonna be
go-kart
perfect.
with wings.
No,
man.
the American
I
Captain
know
ain't
hell
afraid of
well.
no sky
Hell no
demons.
way,
We're
man.
fine.
That's how they
It's gonna take me out of the sky. The American Captain flies forever. At least listen to his spiel. What's up?
We haven't heard any music yet, but I'm already on board with this group. They seem like
I'm used to this kind of luxury right here, but I'll tell you what, you are
a real fun group of people.
3 or 4 airplanes, and some of them have been similar to this one, and we are going to be just fine.
That's a go-kart wheels. How the hell they ain't gonna stay up in the air? I'll tell you, I take dumps. I took dumps bigger than this plane right here. I ain't getting in that motherfucker. No weight, no hair.
Now, we're going to have to stack you all pretty tight in there to make it work, but you're going to be just fine, most of you.
Hell no, I ain't getting out of that plane. That thing's gonna get us all the way to
Oh,
the crash
don't you
site.
worry,
I
buddy.
tell
It's
you
gonna
what.
be all right.
Now,
Oh, look, Jeff Gordon.
Where?
All right, thanks, buddy.
Welcome
So I get
aboard.
on this plane with you. It's gonna be great. All right.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks, man. Can't wait.
Oh, look at that. There's the plane.
Are we starting the song proper yet, or is this soundtrack music?
Alright back there?
Oh, you'll be fine.
I don't know, dude, but there's a red light district. We could probably hit that up afterwards. I'll be happy.
Land the plane. Land the plane now.
Yeah, we'll be there soon. He's just fine in there. Akron Tower 68669 Tango. Mayday, mayday, mayday. We've got an engine issue. Hey, mister, how many engines does this thing have? 0 now. What do you mean?
What do you mean, 0?
Cocaine would really help out right now. It'll all be just fine if you lose some weight.
Landon, we gotta get one of you out the plane.
How many do we need? What? I can't breathe. No! I think like a rock. Oh, I can hear cocaine.
I'm a bird. I'm an eagle. I don't fall.
That bass is disgusting down there. Dang, just a gnarly vocal. How many vocalists do they have? Just the one? Really interesting combination of sounds. What a switch up. It's really catchy. The guitar work is so good. And always juxtaposing more melodic or heavier sections with groovier ones like this. The layered harshes are so good. What is this group?
Hey, man. Wake up, man. We're here, man.
We're here.
Holy heck, I just had the weirdest dream.
What in the world? So, what I really like about this is that I'd say it firmly sits in that alternative metal realm. Very catchy, sits closer to the mainstream sound, kind of has a bit of almost a new metal vibe to it, even at times, where it has the heaviness and sounds of metal without much of the riffage of metal. It doesn't fully buy into this, though. We do see a bit more traditional sounds here. We have a thrashier riff coming out of the guitar at times. The vocals are certainly fairly distant from new metal, alternative metal, that kind of stuff. It's quite a bit harsher and fits more into the traditional metal side of things. And I think that's what is most interesting to me is that musically, while it does sort of deviate into more extreme sides of metal, for the most part, it's a fairly palatable sound, often sticking with groove or memorable licks, and really going for just a pure kind of heaviness. No frills, nothing extra, not trying to show off. Most of the licks in here are, sorry, most of the riffs in here are rather simple to play, but they're quite effective at what they do, which is create heaviness, noise, grit, and occasionally a catchy little groove. But it's the vocals that really push it more towards some not experimental, extreme sides of it. At the very beginning, I was getting some strong Seether vibes, and honestly, I was expecting that to stick around, given that it was a very alternative metal sound at the beginning. We had some lighter metal playing from the guitars and the bass and the drums. We had the vocals come in clean with a little bit of grit. It was like Seether with some heaviness. I never expected the vocals to take the directions they did, and I think from a vocal standpoint, this song clearly sits in the death metal realm. Musically, it dances with that every once in a while, but doesn't really ever commit to it the way that the vocals do. And so I find it to be an interesting spot. I think it works really well as a bridge song, if not a bridge band. I don't know, I haven't heard anything else from them, because musically, I really love this. It reminds me sort of radio metal. Heavier in some places, but in others, I don't see how it would not fit with some of the other mainstream acts on the lighter side of metal. And so musically, I'm sold. I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. The groovy sections, the memorable riffs, the catchiness of it all. I'm down for all of that. And then the lyrics are for the not the lyrics, the vocals, for the most part, are not my cup of tea, but I have an easier time tolerating them primarily because the music is so fun. I think that's a very key word for my enjoyment of more extreme sounds in metal. I either need to be engaged from a lyrical standpoint. Most of the extreme metal acts, the death metal, the black metal, the stuff that I like, that I don't typically enjoy the music, but I like the sound of it. Ashen Spire definitely falls under this. It's because I'm engaged with the lyrics and the music fits that, and it's a full artistic package for me to dig into. The other end of that spectrum is if I'm just having a good time. I can listen to some wildly abrasive stuff if it's fun. And fun metal. I feel like it just my type of fun in metal doesn't seem to be very popular. It exists for sure. I mean, this is a 2023 release here. This video came out a month ago. I don't know when the album came out, but it at least seems to be a newer song. It certainly doesn't take 2023 to create fun metal, though. We've listened to plenty of it on the channel. It's just vastly outshadowed by the serious or the absurdly serious that some people read as camp that I typically have a hard time reading that side of. Um, but it's all serious in feeling, and this isn't. And you know what though? Maybe, part of it is the groove of it all. It is just fun to listen to. But there's also the comedic side of the video, which I can't ignore either. I wonder how I would have felt about this without the 4-minute lead in that kind of told me, hey, what we do is a little tongue in cheek, so don't take us too seriously. And it certainly affected the way that I approached the music as well. It was a little alarming when those first notes came in, and it was much heavier than I was expecting, but they still found a way to incorporate fun groove into a lot of it as well. But the more I think about it, I'm like, this actually isn't a fun song. And it makes me curious what makes it feel fun to me. There is a fun element in the composition, but I can't say I can pinpoint it, aside from just ridiculous groove in places. It is a song that, aside from the directive not to, which human side of me wants to ignore that and do the opposite, it is very easy to dance to this. It's a song with a ton of groove that at least I want to move my body to. So what are they doing, though? A lot of it is based off of simple principles. The music here is not exceptionally difficult. It is effective at what it does, but they are certainly not trying to be technical, I would say, in any way. Most of the guitar work and the bass work is entirely atmospheric or textural. There are a couple of faster riffs throughout here, but most of the time it's about hitting a note, allowing it to resonate for a little bit, and then maybe hitting the note again, maybe changing to a different note if we're looking at a chord progression. But it's all really about these slower boom, boom, bottom, boom, ticka bottom, boom, just creating this groove with these longer notes and finding slower rhythmic syncopation in there to create the groovier aspects, especially when you compare it to what the drums are doing, which tend to accent offbeats a fair bit more often than the guitars do. And that juxtaposition between the emphasized downbeats and the emphasized offbeats is what creates the grooviness, the want to move along with the song. But most of the riffage is alongside that. It's not technically difficult. It does its job of creating big, large sounds to feel heavy, to feel metallic, and to create groove in a lot of places. There are moments where we don't have that though. We have the 16th note picking sections in the guitar that gives us a little bit of melody. Most of the time we're looking at 2 hits per note, and we change pitch every 2 hits, which is every half of a beat. So we do have quite a bit of melodic pitch-based movement going on in those sections. But it's not always consistent either. Occasionally we'll just sit on a single note and allow the repeated attacks to create a type of texture, and these are usually when the drums speed up as well. Usually the more melodic sections are with lighter drumming, and when the drums also bring in the 16th notes on the bass kick, we tend to see less movement pitch-wise in the guitars in order to create this heaviness, this weight to it all. The bass is really nice in that there's some cool bass lines going on, and a lot of this they do follow along with the guitars, though most of the time playing simpler things that create really nice atmosphere and groove, although there are some really cool bass licks throughout here, much like the guitars have a moment to shine melodically as well. The drums are primarily functional, playing patterns that accent the time signature. They're kind of like a metronome, though they do emphasize offbeats quite a bit as well in order to create syncopation against the guitar and bass lines. Musically, as I mentioned, it's really all about atmosphere and texture, occasionally dipping into melody. That's only true for the instrumentation, though. We do have a lead melodic instrument at times, and that's our clean vocals. A lot of this is done in a very mainstream style of picking a note and sort of hovering around it. There's not a lot of really big jumps pitch-wise in the melody writing. It's all very functional and modern. It makes it so it's exceptionally catchy. These types of vocals are juxtaposed with harshes. There's quite a few harshes in here, much like how the guitars and drums end up going through a couple of different styles, whether it's heavy and singular or 16th notes, really driving sections. The vocals have their way of changing up intensity as well. There are 3 different harsh vocals that are utilized in contrast to a clean with grit, and no, there wasn't just a plain. There's the clean with grit, and then 3 different harshes. And what I really enjoy about this is that the harshes aren't monotonous. There's a lot of mouth movement in order to adjust the perceived pitch of these harsh vocals. And so within those 3 styles, we still have a little bit of pitch movement as well. It isn't just hitting one note and doing it, and basically having 3 notes to pick from. There's a lot of variety in the vocal output. And so it creates, at least for me, sort of a pop style of metal music, where the music is designed to be a foundation and atmosphere for the vocals. The vocals are the key, they're the spotlight, it's what's intended for you to listen to the most. They're the most prominent in the production. They are consistently going. I feel like metal is one of those genres where you kind of get either side. It could be pop-like, where the vocals are present all the time, except for possibly a bridge. Not that's unlike pop, but metal tends to have a bridge where the guitars get to shine for a second or something, and a drum solo here and there. Or you can get the other side, which is mostly an instrumental, and sometimes the vocals will jump in and do something. This, I feel, certainly leans more towards the pop side, where we end up hearing more vocals than sections without vocals. And, you know, that just kind of leans into the idea that it's kind of like pop metal. And the variety of vocals means that you never really get to a point where the vocals sit into the background. My issue with a lot of metalcore, especially traditional metalcore, is that the vocals just have that one note and they become a texture and they bleed into the atmosphere for me. And this is the opposite of that. The vocals are so dynamic, constantly changing, whether it's pitch or style or texture or whatever, that it's impossible to ignore them for too long. It was really hard for me to say, oh, what's the guitar doing? Hey, what's the bass doing? What are the drums doing? The vocals just constantly took my attention, which is something that primarily only happens with mainstream music, which this is, it borrows ideas from, but it's very far distant from that. So I found that to be quite interesting. But I'm sold on the vocals. As abrasive and aggressive as some of them are, the really low growl, the shrill black metal shriek, they were always used sparingly and contrasted heavily with other moments. And I found it all to be done in a way that, at least for me, I didn't have that big of a hurdle listening to them, and mixed with the charisma of the entire band, and the delivery of these vocals, it clicks for me in a way that a lot of the vocals remind me of deathcore, honestly, especially modern deathcore, with everybody taking cues from many prominent vocalists. But to me, I always draw it back to Will Ramos. This was my introduction to it, but just having this wide palette of vocal harshes to choose from, and I think that's always going to click with me. I like the contrast and dynamic element of that. Let's hit some lyrics. Well, I couldn't find any lyrics, and I thought maybe I could do it by ear, and there's so many harshes that I couldn't make out. So that just isn't going to be a fruitful endeavor. However, in the place, I do want to bring up that we've had them on the channel before and I didn't remember. It's pretty bad. You know, usually that comes up and the band's like, we checked them out like 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That's a long time. You know, I do this almost every day. We listen to like 300 songs. Well, probably, geez, more than that. 10 a week? Yeah, 500 songs a year, give or take. Plus albums and everything I listen to on my own. Oh, plus live streams. Yeah, we listen to a lot of music on this channel. uh, but yeah, but this was only last year, September of 2022. We checked out Black Mental Epilepsy, and I stated that there was a very strong cohesion between the song and lyrics, which kind of makes me a little sad we can't dive into the lyrics here. But yeah, they dropped down into the comments on that one and thanked me for the video, said it was the most analytical review they ever got, and I told them I'd keep an eye on them because I figured their band would be exploding in the next couple of years, and somehow I missed this. Is this a new album? Did I miss something? I thought I had my eye on them and I apparently didn't. So I got to dig into them, check out their Spotify, see what's going on there. Because, yeah, I mean, this is 2 for 2 then that I've enjoyed from them. And you never know. If it did come out this year, it may end up winding up on my AOTY. So, anyways, I'm just rambling at this point. Those are my thoughts on Chronic Trigger's You Can't Dance to This music. What do you think of this? Did you enjoy it? Anything that stood out to you? Anything that I touched on that maybe I didn't expand into far enough? Or maybe there's some things I completely missed. Let me know down in the comment section. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. It takes you to this menu. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all 3 of those. Stick around. We have a prog epic coming up next. It drops in 2 minutes if you're watching this live. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 p.m. 10 p.m. UTC. As usual, we're going to be diving into our 6th and final studio versus live song track. Getting some Stevie Ray Vaughan up in here. Till next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.